Welcome to the X's and Knowles film review. I am not Trey Rowland, and that's okay, guys. You got to be comfortable with who you are. Did I start this on time, Kev? Do you have to edit anything?
No, I think you nailed it. There might be a second of silence.
That's fine. Second of silence is better than cutting off midway through. So I am Brent Sano with Knowles 24/7, joined by my Knowles 24/7 colleagues on their X's and Knowles channel. That's not confusing at all. Kev, Coach AB, fellas, hello, welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Hot boards.
Thank you, hot boards.
Hot board season. Thank you for paying my mortgage. I appreciate you. All right, so we are going to get into the season finale for Florida State. The Seminoles beat Oklahoma in the Cheez-It Bowl. Oh no, I forgot I picked up a Cheez-It box that I've never had before, and I was going to use it as a prop. I forgot it. Anyways, FSU beat Oklahoma in the Cheez-It Bowl 35-32. Dramatic fashion. A really fun game. I was there. You guys watched it. It was a blast. We're going to relive it, rewatch it tonight, and do a little breakdown here. So yeah, that's what this episode is going to be. Trey Rowland is getting ready to go, I think, to Mexico.
Mexico.
Right? Yep.
Man, Trey, don't drink the tap water would be my advice.
Eat the worm, Trey. Eat the worm.
Eat the worm. Get to the bottle. Get to the bottom of the bottle. So before we get into the actual film review part of it, fellas, let's just talk about general takeaways from the game and in the context of the season for FSU. You get to win the last one. Bobby Bowden always said that was important. You want to win the last one, no matter what the game is, because it makes everyone happy in the offseason. You may not know it by watching the Knowles 24/7 message board burn sometimes, but I think most people are generally happy. It's a 10-win season for FSU, 10-3 overall, the first 10-win season since 2016. So what do we got, guys? What felt good? Kev, I'll start with you. What felt good about the game? What didn't feel great? And I guess how do you look at it in the context of the entire 2022 season?
Well, I can tell you that the narrative is that the defensive coaches didn't do well in preparation for this game. Oklahoma was missing several starters on the offensive line.
People are talking about
running back. And so that was kind of the narrative. I think in our instant, we were kind of critical about Adam Fuller and kind of the job that they did. So I'm excited to jump into the film and kind of reevaluate that opinion to see if it holds up.
Cool. And then AB, what would you say you want to focus on during this film review?
Da-na-na-na. Hey, goodbye. That's all I want to focus on because I really, truly thought that the weakness of this defense has been the defensive back play. I think it's going to stand true when we rewatch this film together. And it seems like change is coming there. So we'll see whether it improves or not. We're going to find out very quickly who's to blame for a lot of this stuff.
So AB is alluding to a coaching change. Marcus Woodson, the cornerbacks coach, is out for I was going to say greener pastures. I'm not sure that's entirely true. He is going to Arkansas per our reporting and Brandon Marcel 24/7 Sports. I don't think Arkansas has officially announced it, but it is happening. So he is leaving for a similar job over there. And that's kind of a staple of what Mike Norvell does, right? Is he usually doesn't fire coaches, but if a coach can find a similar position elsewhere or even better, move up the food chain, like great. And I think for all the critiques you can have of the staff, and there are some and far fewer than there were a couple of years ago, right? But you could say it's not a perfect coaching staff. It is a good one, in my opinion, and it develops at a really high level. It has some borderline elite strengths, and you're starting to see those kind of emerge. But there are a few coaches I feel like who presented less value with technical development and training married with recruiting than Marcus Woodson. And he had some really tough breaks. Travis Hunter won. That was a toughie. And I think that kind of changed the outlook of his position group and him as a recruiter and as a coach. And so this is not a surprise. This is something that we had heard as a potential rumbling back as like early as the Clemson game. And shortly after that, it comes to fruition. So yeah, we'll watch the secondary closely for this film review. You only give out 243 passing yards, but man, in person, I'll tell you, it felt like a lot more than that.
Yeah.
There
were big ones.
Sure. Do we want to get into any stats or anything before we go into the film review, or we just want to get into the film?
Let's watch the film.
We need stats.
All right.
The eyeball test.
All right. Eyeball test. Who needs numbers? No stinking numbers. I went to call you fellows. I went to call you guys. Combine the two. Probably not great. Let's get going.
Boom. Oh, I love the opening.
Beautiful night sky in Central Florida.
AB's favorite part of these reviews is always the special teams.
Ooh.
They don't show enough.
Start out a little 21 personnel. Did Lawrence Toafili's injury impact the offensive game plan on the night?
Yes. Lawrence Toafili to me is a tone setter, right? Like, and by that I mean like you are able. Jordan Travis is so athletic. Lawrence Toafili is someone who you can put into multiple spots, and you get to see what a defense does, how they want to respond. He's your temperature taker, maybe is a better way to put it. And so yeah, losing him impacts some of your versatility.
Don't draw mesh. They're not trying to run mesh.
That is clearly mesh.
Did they slap hands?
Where's the other? Then Pokey Wilson's running the wrong damn route.
He's just taking forever.
It was a weird mesh, but it was a mesh, I think. You don't
It's
need
just a
sneaking
switch.
mesh.
They just switched the slot and the outside receiver on mesh.
But why isn't he running a crosser?
Who's trying to?
Don't take it away from Kev.
Oh,
Don't take
they
this
were
away
trying to
from
throw
Kev.
that. They were trying to throw that wheel route. That's all they were trying to do. Johnny Wilson, big boy.
They put Johnny in the
Used him in the
slot a little
quite
more.
bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is interesting. This is an interesting question. So I don't know if Norvell's done this before, but we've talked about them running a lot of slot fades.
Mm-hmm.
But the original kind of Bryles system version of this play is what's called slot choice, where instead of always running a fade, depending on what the defense presents him, he will either run a fade if there's one high safety, or he'll run what's called a bender if he's capped by somebody. So
Yeah.
if he sees a too high shell, he'll run what's called a bender. So I've always just assumed that they're running slot fade because a lot of teams just run slot fade. But here this looks like slot fade because you've got this little hitch, and he's running the bender. So this might actually be what's called slot choice.
We haven't seen a lot of examples of them doing this. The inside release tells me I don't think the fade portion of it's there, but
Yeah,
that might have been a pre-snap read though.
Well, isn't normally the choice, and correct, you guys would know better than I would, but like, isn't choice usually a slower, like when you run the route, it's a more deliberate kind of delayed route? I know that's how KB taught it anyways, so maybe it's different in different
yeah,
speeds.
and I would say that the outside alignment right away is going to Kevin. Yeah, go back to it.
Yeah, maybe it's a pre-play, like
your outside alignment, I guess, would give you, but the safeties lined up inside of him.
Yeah.
So would the safety alignment put him on? But again, you're saying nobody in the middle of the field.
Right. He might be reading pre-snap.
Yeah.
I'm running a bender.
It's tough to say because we haven't really seen it out of.
Right. I'm just saying that because this is the first bender I've really seen.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally.
Interesting.
They run this a couple times in the game too.
So yeah, it might just be a play call. This might be some sort of crossing route and not some sort of slot choice.
Yeah. They probably had a good idea what they were going to get in empty and knew they were going to get that bender.
Yeah, anticipated space there. Ooh, good hole for Trayshawn Ward. Look at him making some moves.
Yeah, Benson was struggling early in the game.
Benson was doing the same crap he did earlier in the year. He wanted to bounce everything.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of down. They were referring to it as G scheme on the broadcast, which it is just a G scheme. But being the wing T guy that I am, I want to call it down because I like that.
Yeah, just like I like calling mesh, and I know that
and it's
like
not
the
down because
Sarkeesianites
they don't.
to call
They're
it.
not down blocking on the outside, so it's not actually down. But whatever, I'm going to call it that because that's what I want to call
it. I think with Trey Benson, I've learned that he's kind of this is my theory. He's a builder in terms of games, like stacking games onto each other. He gets better not just as the game goes on, but more so like as he gets his feet wet and gets used to the speed of this game. We've seen early in the season take some time to develop, and we saw with a month off.
Thought he missed some cuts in this game. I didn't think he played well.
We got outside zone here, and this seemed to be a consistent problem. Oklahoma was blowing up outside zone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 77, right? Is that the guy who gets in there? That's 40
and 77.
77 with really good pursuit. I thought the left guard had a rough go of it early on, at least.
Which is a shame. He's had such a good career for him to finish on a lower note.
We'll keep an eye on as the game goes on.
He played better as the game went on, but they also have you out leveraged out there. I mean, they've got you outnumbered. It was going to be a tough.
Another thing I'm looking for is
it was going to be a tough play.
I doubt we'll see much of it because they don't tend to show the non-successful plays. But I was a little critical about the play calling in the first half, so I'll be interested to go back to see.
That wasn't a great ball by
Can you rewind it, Kev? I want to see where what happened. So FSU loves running that little motion in the red zone. They did that with Keyshawn Helton a couple of years ago.
Yeah, you kind of get a pick out of this.
Yeah, and I think that's the preference is to get the underneath guy. But if the defense is prepared for it, you throw it in the back. Is it a bad pass or just not a good play on the ball?
I think it's a bad pass. He throws a little flat, and I think
It
he's
is
got to
flat.
throw it to the back, a little bit higher and a little bit more to the back. They showed a better angle of it on the TV broadcast.
So it's too bad you move the ball with relative ease there on the first drive, and it stalls out, and you settle for 3.
Yeah, that was
Third and
knowing that this
5.
was probably going to be some sort of shootout. That was kind of
That's a great catch.
Number 9 gave them a hard time with some mismatches. The tight end. It's a good
Yeah, so
athlete.
this is
Well,
something to
he's
watch
a
out
really
for.
good
They
player.
knew they were getting a lot of man coverage. They knew that this tight end was going to be able to beat FSU's linebackers for the most part. But this is really the only time you see him matched up on Kalen DeLoach. I think they kind of got smart about it and tried to hunt for him to be on Tatum
15.
Bethune after you
Mhm.
see this coverage. Because this is pretty darn good coverage.
Yeah.
Well, here's my question to you. All right, because the argument will be from folks is that you're too predictable. Well, let's go back to go back to that pre-snap. Let's look at the formation.
Is Jamie Robinson playing nickel or is he playing the dime linebacker?
He's playing.
Looks like nickel.
They're just in. They're just in their.
I think this is
They're in
Jamie.
their base. They're in their base
Jamie's at
defense.
safety. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
They're in their
Jamie's
base.
back at safety, so they're playing too deep. On
Yeah,
a third
they're
and
playing
5.
cover 2 man.
Yep.
Pretty directly.
They
They're
did
probably
want to
doing-
try to prevent big passing plays. That was pretty.
They're probably
clear
doing some of their
on
man
offense.
match stuff up there.
Yeah, potentially.
Yep.
They do switch off there, so.
Yep, they do.
Watch-
They play this well.
The defensive ends get taken out and aren't really able to impact the platform at all for Gabriel watching the pocket. I mean, he just gets
And you're going to trust Kalen DeLoach here, right? I mean, he's your best, most athletic linebacker. Like, I get you could say, oh, well, maybe we should have run some cover 3 or something, whatever. You should have run something different, but I don't know. I mean, it looks like to me they just made it. They made a good play, predictable or not. They knew what they were going to get, and that's great coverage by Kalen DeLoach. And that kid just makes a hell of a ball play.
And what's it? 3.5, almost 4 seconds in the pocket for Gabriel.
Let's get some pass rush there.
So Brendan, I want to bring this up. Everybody blames defensive ends when there's no pass rush.
Yeah.
But I think the defensive ends kind of do their job here. They collapse the outside of this pocket. The problem is there's been no push on the front line.
There needs to be one guy pushing back the pocket a little, right?
Right. He has all this room to step up.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's not a perfect play by the defensive ends, but they do their job, force the quarterback to step up. But neither of your defensive tackles are getting any sort of movement here.
Yeah, you're stonewalled there. I don't know if it's on the stunter there to keep contained, but someone's supposed to be getting one of the two has to get upfield. Yeah, that's not good enough.
And I think you're also
sometimes when you stunt and they pick it up and it just happens. I mean, it's
yep.
Sometimes football plays happen and the other team's allowed to win.
All right, so 3rd and 8. So you give up Jared Verse with a good get off. Yeah, you get him down. I don't think Jared Verse played. He didn't play a great game. He didn't play a very good game, but I don't think he was. He made some impactful plays. You'll see. He just wasn't against the run. He was out of control at times. He gets the pressure.
Ray gets beat there. It's not great.
Yeah, Ray gets.
Well, the center peels back and blows him out of the hole.
So we need to talk about this. If you guys haven't been watching this show, they like to play 2 deep safeties. They don't want to be beat over the top. It's why the passing stats look so good, and the eye test says otherwise. Is because they're keeping 2 safeties back, playing a lot of man. That means that there's only 4 pass rushers, and there's no spy for the quarterback. Right? They are so worried about these wide receivers beating their corners that they're keeping 2 safeties back. You'll probably see that change later in the game because of things like this.
Yeah, so Farmer misses, and then Shaheem Brown. Those are two relatively young guys. You're talking about 2nd-year players.
Tackling wasn't very good in this game. Early got better as the game went on. I mean, I thought early in the game that Oklahoma wanted it more. They were playing harder. They were playing faster than you. And they kind of showed with how they moved the football and how they. I mean, eventually they kind of you move the ball well in the first drive, but they kind of shut you down there for a little bit.
I mean, this is just a good move by their wide receiver too. It's kind of hard to see it, but He stems inside, then cuts back outside. They know that he's playing kind of outside leverage because he's got a safety inside. So he kind of gets him to bite inside, goes outside. This is why you're keeping two safeties deep. But it's allowing Oklahoma to hit you underneath and get these scrambles because you're having to protect your cornerbacks.
Yeah, Green chases out a little too far inside, probably. Oh, make the tackle. So, I mean, there's a situation. You've got this tackled to make it 3rd and 8. He breaks the tackle. You just can't allow that. That's Tatum Bethune. I mean, that's your veteran linebacker who you need to make that play.
And he usually he has for most of the season.
Yeah. All right, what do we get here? All right, Pat Payton plays a little flat.
Yeah, I think
he's a little too down the line of scrimmage here. He needs to come blow this up.
Yeah, and he gets taken out too. Like, not only does he not get out, he gets.
Deloach gets blocked pretty easily by the tackle. Who that kid's going to be really good.
Yeah,
is that Bethune at the 20-yard line?
Mm-hmm.
And so that hybrid tight end to, like, okay, if he's going to beat you as a receiver, fine, right? Like, that's
but the thing is, Peyton the bigger problem is that Peyton just gets pinned inside so easily that he's able to get this hole.
He has a cut either. He has space either way. Yeah.
Well, you're playing a 6-man box. I mean,
I guess Tatum's okay there because he's playing outside contain. Doesn't look as bad there.
Right. Again, this is because you don't trust your corners. You're having to play two deep safeties
constantly.
Now, yeah, and you'll see what happens when they don't. Right. Still keeping a 6-man box.
Here's why you don't trust your corners. I mean, look at Duke.
Yeah, they put Amari Cooper in there.
He's just so impatient and undisciplined in this play. I mean, he's just diving outside from. I know he gets an outside stem, but you got to kind of understand where you're at.
Yeah, he's already beat here. Like, he's already behind him.
Safety help, but safety help's going to do nothing for how easily he gave this up.
Right, the safety has to help towards the easier throw.
Yep.
And he's not expecting him to be this beat. You still have to contest the pass.
Yeah.
This is why you're having to keep two safeties. The two safeties means that they're able to scramble the ball. They're able to run the ball. You're trying to keep plays like that from happening, but you could have 6 safeties back there if you get beat that bad off the corner. So I think they kind of learned from that and got more aggressive, but
no, he does it again.
On the first drive, you give up a conversion on 3rd and 5, another one on 3rd and 8, and that touchdown was on 2nd and 20.
Yeah.
Man, I felt like they weren't going to counter enough early. They tried to get outside zone started. Counter was working.
Good job by the man. They got so much better that as the year went on, identifying second level players and being able to make blocks in space. Like that was encouraging. 3rd and 1.
Just not winning.
Yeah, nowhere to go.
Look at this.
So one narrative is that they can't move the ball in short yardage situations, and it was certainly not good against Oklahoma. I went through and looked, like their success rate on 3rd and 1 or even 3rd and 3, so somewhere between 3rd and 3rd and short, they're like top half nationally. Not as bad as you would think.
I'd be curious to see how that stacks up against good defenses, because everybody talks about the defensive stats being bolstered by bad offenses, but I think this offensive line stats got bolstered a bit by bad defenses.
75.
Yeah, it's not great by him. It's a tough block, but this kid just...
It doesn't have to be that.
No, he just blows him up. I mean, he just beats him with power here, and then...
I'm going to be honest, I don't get... After seeing what outside zones look like this whole game and a pivotal 4th and 1 in your own territory, I don't get going to outside zone here.
That's probably one of the last times they go to it, right?
I mean, it's been your best run play all year. I know you got to adjust, but you're second series of the football game. You're still identifying some of this stuff,
right?
Yeah, I mean that's
just it's unfortunate that it's on 4th down at midfield.
Yeah,
a little tight front.
I mean, if you don't get obliterated at left guard, you're probably able to pick that up because everywhere else looks pretty clean. Like, I mean, and that is a tough angle.
But it's terrible. But
it just can't be that far in the backfield.
I mean, the kid does stem inside on you. You just can't get beat with that much power.
I mean, look at him
It's
compared
there.
to everyone else.
If he gets this block, it's there and it's going for 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Benson is seeing. I know it's tempting to say to turn it up.
Cut it up, yeah.
And he might get a 4th and 1. That might be smart for a 4th and 1.
I mean, he's on his track, and this play should be going for big points. I mean, Dylan's got to get that block. Is what it is.
Oh, reinforcements are coming. 3 interior offensive line transfers with all 320 or bigger.
We go verse.
There's
but
verse
again,
getting pressure
no
again.
interior pressure.
Right. They almost stunt him inside to make up for the interior pressure.
Which means somebody's got to be coming outside, and I think Malcolm Ray goes the wrong direction.
So verse with 2 pressures already, right?
Not a great game for Malcolm Ray already.
No. Oh. Brandon Fisk might be able to be that 3rd down specialist.
Fabian back helps quite a bit.
Yeah. Yes.
Not a great throw, but
yeah, this is a very similar throw.
Out on this one, they showed it after Micah tried to take it too deep. He should have broke earlier.
Yeah, Jordan was telling him that the game. Yeah, the depth there not great. Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of. They were not in rhythm offensively.
They looked rusty. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the first time these guys have had a bowl game. I mean, you learn how to handle that process.
Do you guys get worried at all about them playing with expectations? Do you think they've gotten to that point where that's something they're doing comfortably? They're certainly fine when they're underdogs or when their back's against the wall in a game.
I haven't shown they handled it well yet. I mean, they handle adversity really well.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't handled being the top dog very well yet.
That's part of the climb, I guess.
The thing is, though, like the 2 teams they've played that they're favorited or are bad teams are 2 teams with more star talent than Florida State, and 2 teams that most advanced metrics would say FSU played to expectations.
Oh, come on, that's a hold. A break.
That's a good point, Kev. Oh, that is a hold.
How do you not call that?
Was that first that got held?
Yeah. I mean, he's playing this really well.
Yeah.
And is going to make this tackle if he doesn't get held. He wrong shoulders this thing. He spills this thing beautifully.
Doesn't help that Coop gets washed hard.
Well, that's abysmal, though. Come on.
I agree with you, but I mean, there's already a huge
more downhill linebacker.
Nuance.
Flat here.
We're bringing nuance here.
Come forward, Tatum. Come forward. He didn't come forward this game very well.
It was not his best game of the season.
Yeah, Tatum. He has games where he doesn't come forward. It's odd.
DJ Lundy in there. Let's see what else. I may need to put on my glasses. I'm getting old, fellas. This is toughy.
That was a good job by Lundy. That was actually Tatum Bethune that made that.
Yeah, well, Bethune actually comes forward this time, sticks it.
Oh, I think Shaheem Brown just
clear the quarterback, baby. Got to clear the quarterback.
God, he has so much talent.
I don't think it's his job here. It's not his job. I think Bethune actually is wrong.
Yeah, there's probably some sort of gap exchange going on here.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess so.
Yeah, I mean,
100%.
Bethune's job isn't to just stand there in nothing land.
Yeah, 100%.
So Shaheem has the green light on that specific play to go.
Almost certainly. Because look, if he didn't, you would expect
Tatum
to kind of fit a gap inside.
Mm-hmm. It looks like all gaps are more or less accounted for, right?
Right.
Yep.
I think he's got to have some sort of gap exchange.
Okay.
He probably just wasn't expecting a naked bootleg because it's not 1996, but
some would call this a miscommunication. I'm not sure that that's what that is.
I think it's one player not being in the right place.
Yeah, I think his eyes, he didn't trust his eyes.
Yeah.
But you know how narratives work.
So no gray area.
It was a neat little call, though. You just don't see that very often. Like, you see so much read option out of the shotgun that you don't see much just naked bootlegs.
I enjoy the pressure.
All right, 14-3. Kind of the one thing you didn't want was for Oklahoma to feel good about itself and get a lead. And guess what happened? Oklahoma
felt good about themselves and got a lead.
Got a lead. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, that's just Jordan Travis buying some more time.
How about J Trav? What was his final stats? Yeah, we'll talk about stats. It's fine.
You can-
418 yards.
Passing?
27 to yep. Oh, yeah, an extra 50
Short
rushing.
push in the
I forgot about
counter.
that.
And they bring the corner blitz into it, and it blows it up.
Do you remember in the preseason, fellas, when we were talking about whether Jordan Travis could be like a top 20 quarterback?
You mean when Kev sabotaged me with a
No,
video
we
where
were
he
talking about
clips
it
me saying he's not?
legitimately before
No, for
Kev.
sure.
Yeah, before we
Mhm.
sandbagged you, AB, and you took a point that you didn't believe in. We
Mhm.
appreciate it for content.
Yeah, you really fought one.
He's
You fought well.
16th nationally in passer rating, first nationally in PFF grade. Oh, Cam.
Yeah, but he's just a pocket quarterback. He can't run.
Is that the narrative now? I don't know if we
know.
saw a bunch of Cam McDonald after this series. He missed a block inside and had
Yeah, no, I
that
don't think so.
on the previous play. And yeah, there was some back and forth whether Cam was going to play in the bowl game. I think they eventually said, hey, man, you got to make a decision here. He made the decision. The
Not
tight end
playing the
room,
bowl
hey,
game.
help is on the way.
Not playing the bowl game. Why would he not play in the bowl game?
I don't know.
Yeah, all right. This one hurts.
Live, I wasn't sure if the safety was late coming over, but let's.
No, we just give up these inside. We give up inside positions way too easily. It's another situation just like down the goal line. He's actually a little more physical with it this time, and Mims just outruns him.
But look at that.
Oh, man.
That is insane. Like the people that are blaming scheme for this.
Is this a cover 2 or like a cover 4 pattern match? What are we looking at here?
It's probably cover 2 man
Two
with how
man?
deep these guys are.
Oh, so that's 2 man. So you're getting that. You're losing that much ground on man coverage by the cornerback.
So I played in an air raid system in high school, and I remember walking up to my offensive coordinator, and I asked him, "What passing play do you run against cover 2 man?" And he said, "You run it." Because there's at least 7 men permanently in coverage.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you can't stop there's no better play call against 3rd and 15.
I didn't realize it was 3rd and 15. Oh boy,
you just can't be beat that bad.
Like the defense is playing well on a down to down basis early in this game. They're playing horribly situationally, which
he just can't. He cannot give it up that easily. Let this route get back inside of him.
If you're going to stop your hips and make contact,
right there, like keep fighting. And I get it, Marvin Mims, is it Marvin Mims Jr. like is a stud, but well, man, it's just like whatever.
Yeah, he
like we're bouncing it, we're running out, it's running the sideline again, and I know his job's to funnel this back inside because he's got safety help, but.
So, and also, like, so one thing, if we do want to be critical of something, I kind of was in the Wake Forest game in the first half because I thought, is it Green Dog? Is that what the blitz?
Yeah.
I thought they were too passive with that. I don't know if that was coaching or just a linebacker being a little short. But watch they're clearly playing to prevent a quarterback scramble here. So they have stunts with really wide angles, and they have the linebacker playing spy. And then who is on the tight end in the man coverage there? Does he have Green Dog?
Amy Robinson is spying on that tight end.
Okay. So you only send 4 basically, and you keep Jamie back. He's not doing Green Dog. And then you got Deloach doing a quarterback spy. We see them get a lot more aggressive and force the issue some. And the defensive coordinator makes an adjustment because what we're watching here is not working. The conservative approach is not working.
You see a couple 3rd and longs later where they spring a run on you because you get aggressive.
Yeah. But Adam Fuller would talk about this. There are times in a game where he feels like he has to dictate terms a little bit. And he doesn't necessarily want to get in there. He wants the players to just win their one-on-one matchups, right? Like that's an ideal. But you have to kind of take it out of their hands or put them in a position to be aggressors.
Here's
I think that's
so here's where I get frustrated sometimes is when Adam Fuller came to Florida State, his opening comments, the first time he ever talked about his defense was that he wanted his defense to have an offensive mindset. That's how he coached defense. He was going to attack. He was going to dictate terms at all times. So I don't understand sometimes the wishy-washiness of that.
Well, I think if you took a every defensive coordinator's press conference, their first one, they say, we're going to pin our ears back. We're going to be aggressive. And like, it all sounds great. And then you realize, well, we can't guard one-on-one outside like coverage all the time. I don't know.
No,
do you really want to be more aggressive when this guy gets beat off the line? Like, he's just beat. Like, do you really want less safety?
I got to think when Duke Cooper goes to the sideline, somebody's not happy with his effort there.
Yeah. And remember this. This is important when we talk about the culture and we talk about the guys playing hard and like remember how Duke Cooper plays later in the game. I do think that's worth setting up to talk about later. Oof.
100%. He plays a lot better. He had his best half of the season probably in the second half of this game.
Holding penalty saves you there.
Blatant hold. Wish they would have called.
But that's okay. Earlier. Yeah, I saw people on the message board saying, "Oh, that they were a holding call away from going down 21-3." Well, there was a hold on the play. Like, what are we doing?
Well, people just want to be unhappy.
Be right. Yeah.
Hey, there we go.
There we go. Easy work for Jared Verse there. What is Oklahoma trying to accomplish, Kev?
Well, I think they got the play call wrong.
Okay.
It looks like now they're trying to run like a little draw type deal.
Okay.
They're folding both tackles in based on what their look is, and it didn't work.
Did not work out.
Yeah, you just got upfield so fast.
Again, I thought Jared Verse.
There's dictating terms in a different way. You didn't blitz, but you were aggressive with your defensive line on that play.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, Dylan Gabriel had scrambled a few times prior to these sequences, and he killed you a little bit with his legs.
Even just getting outside the pocket and throwing the ball.
Yeah. RPO. Right. Yep. So this is the point where Florida State decided, okay, they are selling out to stop the run. Let's get the play action game going. Let's get the RPO game going.
In FSU's darkest moments this season, they have turned to RPO, and I was thinking about Tate Rodemaker against Louisville, but that's been good to them when they've needed to kind of get things going.
Yeah, it's interesting they haven't gone to it more often, to be honest with you. It's been fairly effective. I mean, it almost ensures a one-on-one matchup for Johnny Wilson outside or good numbers in the box. So
it makes sense for their personnel. All right, so J-Trev pulls it. Good. That's really nice all around. Look at this is a 25-yard throw through the air. Look how he doesn't have great he's not set up. This shows there is some arm strength here, right? He makes it look easy.
But okay, so this shows you kind of the aggressiveness we were talking about with Oklahoma's defense. Mm-hmm. Look how hard this guy's shooting this gap. And then they're going to bring the safety down to kind of make sure they can pick up Jordan Travis if he pulls it. They're being super aggressive here, and that opens up the passing game. You got to be able to do stuff like that. It's a great throw.
Good coaching, good throw, just good on Pokey. I mean, he's been at Florida State for about 25 years and ends his career on a nice note.
A little smash concept. Just high-loading that cornerback.
Is that similar to the play that didn't work against NC State? I guess that was more of a fade with it. Oh! Wyatt.
You tell me about this play that they cut off in the broadcast.
Yeah, well, they cut it off in the broadcast, oh my god.
Yeah, this is all you get.
I'm more proud of Brian Courtney.
Mute him. My dad were there watching the game, and he's like, "What are they doing?" Because that's swinging gates, and they always do. And he's like, "What are they doing here?" I'm like, "No, they usually audible out of it." And then I realized, they're staying here. I mean, come on. Wyatt Rector for Heisman. That's a big boy catch by Brian Courtney. You know what's kind of poetic about that? I'm getting juiced now that we're talking about Wyatt Rector. You're talking about your quarterback converted to tight end, passing the baton to Brian Courtney, quarterback converted to tight end, who will probably take on the Wyatt Rector special teams role of doing everything next year.
I'm here for that.
Oh, 3rd and 6. Just third down.
What an interesting role to have on your roster permanently.
What are you, Josh Newberg, not liking tight end scholarship distribution?
No, I just think it's funny.
3rd and 20. Does he pick it up here?
No.
But this is one of the ones I was talking about where they were aggressive early. I guess you were passive on this one.
Yeah, they just dropped soft. I think this is kind of another one of those examples of just, I mean, they just catch you in the perfect stunt to open up that huge gap here.
Yeah.
And then I think Tatum Bethune plays it a little passively here.
Oklahoma is 5 of 9 on third downs in the first half. It's like, 'cause you're only allowing 5.1 yards per play. Like, you're winning your standard downs, I would imagine, is what that would indicate. And it's just third down is killing you. And it's a lot of third and longs too.
Yeah, that really was the story of the first half. It was third and long, third and long, third and long. They attack those when they get desperate. They just go downfield against those cornerbacks and they won.
Kind of amazing they only gave up 17 points given what you did poorly on good throw on third down, and then what you got in terms of like starting field position as well.
So I think this has to be some sort of miscommunication with Oklahoma, because all indications say that this is one deep safety here. He was even in the middle of the field by the time you released the ball.
That's strange because it looks like a cover two sink like the way they're playing up front, right?
You would assume that it's based off how the play plays out. You'd assume that this guy's got the flats and he just lets Johnny Wilson run by. But
look how everyone else is playing, like the linebackers.
Right. Yeah.
Everyone else zone, right?
Looks like cover two zone. So this might be on the safety. This might just be the safety not doing the right thing because he's still in the middle of the field here.
Yeah.
If they're truly playing some kind of cover two, he's got to be over here. So good read by Jordan Travis. That's usually like a hot read. Like you see that open, you throw it.
Empty.
Let's see.
So they're setting up something later with this empty set, right? Does Biscuit play? Is that
yeah?
Okay.
Well, the Biscuit play is it's a trick play, but sure.
Well, I meant just the formation that you're going out of consistently.
Yeah. Hey, you guys check the chat real quick.
All right, AB.
All right.
We got
you, buddy. Guys. Enjoy the rest of this.
Kev, it's just you and I.
We got this. We can handle it.
Oh, where's Trey? Let's get him. All right. Who's screwing up here? Let's just get right down to it.
Yep. Let's watch this. All right. Well.
Oh, it's just not filling together. The Brennan Gant.
It looks like, what's happening is both Kalen DeLoach and Brendan Gant fill this B gap. So they fill the same gap. Notice here, they're both on the outside shoulder of this guard.
So it's a tough angle for BG.
He runs right through the A gap. So for whatever reason, one of these two guys is wrong. One of the two guys fills the wrong gap. Either Kalen DeLoach gets confused because this guard blocks down. He thinks this is the A gap.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would naturally assume, that he's supposed to blitz this A gap, but he sees there's no A gap, so he thinks he can clog it up. But the guard does a good job of pushing him out last second and opening up this gap. And that leaves Gant out in the cold.
It's like the offensive line that Oklahoma's playing against was better than we expected.
Yeah, that was a good heads-up play by that guard.
That was really solid. So once you get tempo, man, like with these tempo teams, like once you get a little bit of juice, once you get it going, it's a toughie. Trying to see who gets out of gap here.
You're also, well, I don't think anybody's out of gap here. So you're keeping these two safeties back like we were talking about earlier because you're really just trying to not die from getting beat deep. You do bring the safety down late. I think this is more him just reading a run fit than it is him actually being in the box for that, and he does what he's supposed to do.
So Oklahoma's just inherently going to have a numbers advantage gap-wise based on how you're matching up with the two eye safeties. Gotcha.
Right. So you have 6 blockers,
mm-hmm.
which means 7 gaps. and then you have 6 people, 6 defenders. So
So-
by definition, you have to have an empty gap.
So to me, Kev, like this comes back to the predicament we were talking about earlier so we say coaching, it's overarching. There's a lot of things, especially in college, like coaching also includes recruiting and there's a lot of things. But you're talking about scheme versus development, right? Like those are 2 separate things. So we talk about scheme here, like you've seen your cornerbacks get killed outside so far. So,
Right. I think this is a fair time to complain about scheme in the sense that, okay, there's 1 yard to go.
Yeah.
Why not play the run?
Mm-hmm.
But the only concern with that is 2nd and 1 is a prime opportunity for the offense to take a shot.
Best down in football, right? Because the entire playbook is more or less open to you. You can do a lot, especially in this is strict play territory too. When you're talking about like the 40 and like this, there's just a lot that you have to defend and account for.
So if you go aggressive against the run, you're potentially going to give up a touchdown because your corners just get worked every play. But yeah, I mean, if it's 3rd down, I think that's a more fair complaint. So it's 3rd and 10. You played kind of a cover 4 look there. So here, yeah,
is Malcolm Ray too far up?
True cover 4.
Oh, so they're expecting pass because it's 3rd and 10.
Yes, 3rd and 10. You're playing zone, so they know how to play zone defense.
They're actually ranked fairly high in that nationally, regardless of what people are saying.
I don't know where that came from. Yeah, I don't know what Malcolm Ray's doing. It seems like he's
the eye test, Kev, is what's happening. The eye test says they can't play zone coverage.
I think you have some mix of Malcolm Ray probably shouldn't have gone inside here.
Like when he's reading that and it seems like he's standing up reading it, right? Like, he just makes a decision to attack.
They're not reading him.
No, not at this point. The read for the quarterback was backside there, was Verse, who's playing the run like he's playing as if that could happen.
Right. So Verse is probably just taught to let this be a give. Hopefully they can fill it. There's also a concern, right? So you can count the box, count your numbers here. There's 5 blockers for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defenders. So this guy has to come down if you have any chance of stopping this run.
Mm-hmm. And he takes a backpedal immediately.
So
that's your fourth safety too. I mean, we talk about the personnel for the game, right? Like that's a factor. We know that Oklahoma was shorthanded. Like that's Pack has not played much this season.
Right, and there's 19 seconds left, and there's 20 seconds left in the second quarter. You're just like, I mean, if Kalen DeLoach is able to make this tackle, this looks like a really dumb play call by Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
He just breaks a tackle, gets out of bounds. It's a good play, good game, good call. It worked out for Oklahoma, but it's one of those things. I have no problem with how FSU called it. I mean, I don't think you really want to sell out to stop the run on 3rd and 10.
Yeah, no, it seemed fine. That seemed okay. So I went to go to the bathroom at this point, and all of a sudden I looked up at the TV, and I thought it was going to be halftime, and Jordan Travis did that.
Yep. I mean, this is just Jordan Travis being Jordan Travis, right?
Yep. And then this is when my father learned about FSU's kicking issues. Now, that would have been a tough, 53-yarder, I think, but that's when he realized that maybe that's not it's not something that you're super confident in.
You mean this is what you want?
54 yards.
He was online.
It was actually not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. My pops was too rough on him. He didn't know there could be much worse. All right, second half. So FSU down 17-11, and you have to give the ball back to Oklahoma to start the half. I like that play. The little screen, little delay screen there. The up back.
Yeah, this is tough to carry. So I guess we'll see it here. I think Jared Verse is probably supposed to peel off on this guy. That's what it looks like. Yeah. Either that or DeLoach is most likely supposed to peel off on him. It's hard to tell.
Could Bethune have been a little bit more aggressive? Like I know he's no, it's not.
Soon?
Yeah, as pursuing the quarterback. Like, is he let up? It's not as bad live. It's probably fine. I was just,
They're taught to get their hands up, you know.
yeah.
That's a normal thing.
So this verse folds
gosh.
inside there, and Oklahoma became hell bent on attacking the perimeter in the second half for good reason.
Yeah. So again, they catch you doing a pass rush stunt. Stuff. Third and 11. You have to keep safeties back because you don't want to keep getting just letting them have chunk plays in the passing game.
It almost looks like versus dropping into coverage, like some kind of zone blitz type of deal.
Yeah, that's definitely possible.
Because he's backing up right away, so they're trying something new. It goes right in something they haven't shown at all this game, to my recollection. It just plays right into Oklahoma's
right.
hand.
He's probably trying to get just underneath a slant or something. He's
right.
not. They're not asking him to like cover a full zone. More just kind of be a little rat zone. Is that the only angle they're going to give us to this play?
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's it. That's 4th and 1. And we're going.
All right, you're keeping 2 safeties back still. Yeah, and you can argue like whether or not you'd rather them be able to run the ball 5 yards at a clip or get chunk plays down the field. I know they're still getting chunk plays with 2 safeties back, but it's your best bet, right?
And again, at this point, so you have Azaria Thomas playing a prominent role. I think it's the play he almost made. Yeah, it's a great play.
Yeah,
best play he's made all season.
Imagine that.
Oh, length, athleticism, like that. I think just for his confidence to have this, and he played well the entire game. They didn't really pick on him or anything, but like that's why we were so excited about him in the spring and the preseason because of this.
Brennan, I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
When you play man defense, do you usually look at your receiver that you're covering or the quarterback?
If it's man, you're looking at the wide receiver.
How about if it's man? Do you generally have your eyes on the quarterback, leave your receiver to go help with get underneath another route?
I think that might be zone coverage. Is that what you're implying here?
Oh my gosh, it's like they played zone and played it well.
And they could play it well.
It's almost like the people saying that they don't know how to play man cover or zone coverage don't know what they're talking about. That is someone playing zone coverage really well, exceptionally well.
Exceptionally well. Yeah.
This play, this is smash. This is what we were talking about earlier. This is like the perfect play if you're going to get some kind of cover 2 zone, which Florida State is in. Florida State does a good job, or AZ Thomas does a good job of kind of baiting the deep route by kind of playing up. You can't really see his head here, but he makes the play by going back.
Also, like when we talk about this is where the recruiting, I know that like recruiting is not your strong point, Kev. You don't love it like AB does. But that's where like bringing in a really talented player like Azaria Thomas, like for him to have the length to be able to make that play, like that makes coaching look. Oh, geez, that makes coaching look better, too. So it like both need to be like Jimmy's and Joe's, X's and O's, like are both they're intertwined very closely. I think people fail to see that sometimes. Johnny Wilson, unfortunately, as great as he is and as much great as he can do, is good for one of those every couple weeks, probably.
So this is an interesting question. So I really like these stack sets.
Mm-hmm.
They really spread out the defense. Notice that now you have an advantage in the box. There's 5-5, so you have enough blockers for their defenders.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of put these guys in hard situations where they both have to play out here and in here.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if this was a draw or if he just read numbers.
Watch 53. Watch Maurice Smith on there. He knew what Jordan was doing, right? To an extent.
Yeah, he started going forward before he even saw Jordan Travis.
Yeah, so that would lead. I think you're right with the draw. So FSU had a lot of success with the empty set, Kev, and I know this isn't an empty set, but doesn't do something kind of similar to where you're forcing the defense to really dictate what it's doing.
Yeah, especially with the Venables was bringing in some pretty nasty stunts
Mhm.
that got some negative plays in the first half, and the empty set kind of simplifies that.
So yeah, that what we're seeing here in the second half is FSU like finding different ways to kind of again force Oklahoma to declare a little bit more. Good throw.
That is a good throw. So they're playing Oklahoma's playing zone, and you just kind of the timing route here. It's a good throw. It's a hard throw.
Yeah, it's funny. There's not a throw that like there's not a time where he drops back. I'm like, I don't feel like this is a good opportunity here. Doesn't mean he's always going to get it, right? But
Yeah, and this just right here, this little thing,
Mhm.
just keeping his eyes downfield, buying time.
Was that kind of a screw up with did the running back go the opposite way of the handoff?
I would assume so.
I'm making sure I'm seeing that right.
And then he doesn't pick up anybody. So sometimes you'll see that if there's like a hot, like
Yeah.
they expect a blitzer or something.
You have to peel
Sometimes
off.
you'll see him just go off, even if the PA is somewhere different. But yeah, it just looks silly.
You know what? Whatever. It worked. We're fine with it.
It reminds me of that play where a guy was just lined up facing backwards with Bryles.
Oh yeah, Trey McKitty.
Classic.
It worked. They picked up a first down that play. Biscuit. How do they get Biscuit so open here? What happens?
Okay, so
Where is he? So he's lined out wide.
yeah, so they put Biscuit out here. A lot of times you'll do that because it tells you if you're going to get man or zone.
Okay.
Oftentimes, if they're in man coverage, they're going to move a linebacker or something out here to be on him or a safety.
So it's zone that you're looking at.
Right.
More likely.
He's matched up on a corner, so you know it's zone.
Mm-hmm.
This is slot fade or slot choice, whatever you want to call it. And because it's zone, you see this corner trying to get underneath the slot.
Mm-hmm.
Bigger threat, Johnny Wilson. And so that just leaves open Biscuit.
And then can you go back to the pass pro real quick? I just want to see like time how long it takes. So they only send 4. Not bad all around. Darius Washington gives up a little pressure, but
They send 5.
That's fine. You win. Like that's cool. I thought Darius had a really good game at right tackle. He had a really nice redemption after. Remember the Wake Forest? I think that was the last time I was doing this with you guys. Was the Wake Forest game, and they took the wide 9 and it beat him up pretty good on it.
Jeez, you're getting just
yeah.
You're not getting any push here.
None. DJ Lundy kind of tries to jump, and I want DJ Lundy. I love him at fullback. I don't need my man jumping. Just battering ram, baby.
This is a funny play. Trayshawn Ward just says, "Get out of my way, DJ Lundy."
Yeah, he is. It's funny when he came to the game. I told Pops, I was like, "Yo, man, like watch this. It's gonna be Wildcat." He's like, "Why? They're putting the small running back." I'm like, they trust him. He's shifty and has good vision. They'll find room."
Strangely enough, does seem to be the better short yardage running back compared to Trey Benson.
I remember Jimbo Fisher was enamored, wrongfully so, overall with Mario Pender because he was putting him over Dalvin Cook, but he had Mario Pender was really liked him as a red zone back, and I think probably for a similar reason. If you don't have a battering ram, or if you don't have an offensive line that's going to carve out space and give you a head of steam, the next best thing is to find a shifty guy who can find a crease. So some confusion here pre-play for the defense. What'd you say?
Yeah, some confusion, and that means that Oklahoma is able to get a man-on-man matchup on Tatum Bethune.
I forget what happened before, and that's a good athlete against your less athletic linebacker. But it's 3rd and 6. I forget what happened to play before, but clearly it was a completion or a running play because the clock's moving. But without a first down, you shouldn't be having that much pre-play confusion. It's not like tempo got you here necessarily. There's 14 seconds left on the play clock.
Yeah, I think that Oklahoma went to some pre-snap motion, like they did a formation change, if I remember correctly. But yeah.
So again, we're not
also just not great coverage by Tatum Bethune. I mean, I know you're a linebacker on this guy.
He's guessing there, huh? It's
yeah,
the outside.
He bites hard outside because he got beat on that out route earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And they just beat him inside. So
okay, not great.
This is why those hybrid tight ends are so popular nowadays. This is why Jaheim Bell was such a vaunted transfer, is because How is a linebacker supposed to keep up with an athlete like that?
And that's why safeties are becoming increasingly more like popularized and modern. Like NFL is starting to draft those guys higher. And so a guy like Jamie Robinson is going to be coveted because he can play a little linebacker sometimes in certain situations to match up
Right.
with that type of
And
weapon.
if FSU had a third safety that they really felt super comfortable having on the field like they do
Yeah.
here,
Yep.
you can see that they've gone to a dime. They put in a third safety, and now
Mhm.
he's following Oklahoma. So they made an adjustment. They saw that what Oklahoma was trying to do.
So that this play, Kev, came out of a timeout, and initially, and Oklahoma showed a very similar look pre-play, and I forget why there was a timeout. DJ Lundy was the motion guy, like he was going with the motion man. Instead, they get a sub in, they get Jamie Robinson, and look what happens. Like this is coaching. This is good use of personnel.
Yep.
Jamie
That
plays
makes
it well.
all the difference in the world having Jamie Robinson here instead of Tatum Bethune, right?
Yeah.
I wish they played more dime, to be honest with you.
I think if Akeem Dent doesn't get hurt, like they probably can. Akeem Dent gets hurt at this point. I think he broke his foot. And if you notice too with Shaheem Brown, he's got one of those bands over his leg too, so he's not 100%. I mean, you're limited by your depth there.
Okay,
And
this makes me think that we're running some sort of choice. So I talked about slot choice earlier. This is outside choice.
Kev, I thought you were going to say this makes me something inappropriate just with the Johnny Wilson Lake there. That's it's an impressive athletic catch.
It is certainly. It bailed Jordan Travis out because it's not a good throw.
So outside. So what is this?
Outside choice just switches the roles, right? So now the inside receiver is running the hitch, and the outside receiver has a choice. And here he's running a bender. You see the same thing up top, where he's going to run a post, and he's going to run a. So it's slot. It looks like slot choice up top and outside choice at the bottom. It could not be. That's just my speculation. I don't have the playbook on me. It could just be the play. It could just be a.
If it is the play, you're playing into. You're really predicting that well that there's going to be that nice soft zone in the middle of the heart of the defense.
Yeah, that was nice. I mean, Venables loves playing zone. They're one of the top zone teams in the country. So that's the problem with zone. So, I mean, we can sit here and criticize them, FSU, for not playing enough zone, which is probably true. But if you know zone's coming, they're zone beaters as well.
Yeah, Brent Venables gave up more points than Adam Fuller did.
Got him.
So at this point, too, notice Jazz turning teams at right tackle now because Robert Scott had to leave the game.
So this is a play I wondered about.
All right, let's watch it here. It's kind of a good thing he intercepts it. You gain some yards on it. I mean, you'd rather throw a completion, obviously, but it's better than an incompletion.
This dude had no safety help. This is a safety here. So when I first watched this, I was like, surely. So the safety is actually kind of up here. There's no help back here.
Yeah, you get Johnny Wilson one-on-one outside.
This dude, this is a ballsy play call or defense by this corner. Because look at this. He is ready to drive on this.
Yeah, he's anticipating this.
And a double move.
Yeah.
He's in trouble.
Knows Johnny, there was some critique that Johnny would play it a little soft. I don't know what reasonably it's this quicker guy who gets underneath him and gets leverage. I don't know what else you can do.
Yeah, that defender gambled there.
Mm-hmm. Paid off. And this is just a good throw and catch.
Yeah, I mean, he's sticking with him pretty well for as good of a wide receiver that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes offenses just get theirs,
Yep.
I have problems with that play where they hit that pocket between the corner and the safety earlier, but that one you're just a little bit beat. He's just a little bit better than you.
This looks like Jeff Lebby's a really good coach. This looks like they're optioning. It's almost like a midline look, but like with the defensive end, and they like Leonard Warner's been really good for FSU this season for what he is, but like they forced him to be an athlete in space here.
Yeah.
What happens?
Like a power read here. So yeah, they're reading the defensive end. It's just zone read, but the quarterback and running backs are switched. So instead of the quarterback taking the outside, the running back takes the outside. It's back away, bash. Yeah, it kind of messes with the keys of the defense a little bit. And what they're really trying to do is hope that they can beat Leonard Warner to the outside. He just goes unblocked.
Yeah. No,
I'm
they did
not
this.
even sure they read him here. I think it was an
Oh,
auto
really?
give.
That's funny.
Because he does give Leonard Warner gives the outside read. Like his hips are turned here.
Yeah. But the ball's already been. I mean,
Yeah,
it's already
that's
been
true.
declared.
So maybe that first initial step inside.
Yeah,
is,
it looks
is the
like
read.
he's playing with his shoulders squared up to the quarterback. At that point, he's DOA like already, right? Like with his athleticism. That's what I'm saying. Like Oklahoma did a good job, and they did that with Duke Cooper and going right after him right away. Like they identified matchups really well here within the tempo scheme. Like, it's impressive what Jeff Lebby
Jeff
did.
Lebby's one of the better offensive coordinators out there. I mean, there's a reason they're a top 20 offense.
Yeah.
And it's not because they're just so stacked with talent, although they are a talented offense.
Yeah. But like I get watching this as a fan, like this is all the inside run, look how much space he has. Like that is frustrating. I do understand like the trepidation from the fan base there. Like, this isn't what you want to see.
There's a hold right here.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, it was. Did they call it?
I don't think so.
That's unfortunate.
Let's see. It feels like we're missing somebody.
Was that the play where they didn't have enough guys on the field? They did have one.
I think they have enough guys. Maybe. Unless there's not a safety over here. No, there is.
Okay, you're good. There was one play where I thought they were short one.
I think, yeah, one of these two guys has to be in that B gap.
Mm-hmm. And that's tough. Like
they release this guy in a pass, and he's just so worried about that at this point.
And then you're able to get your right tackle. Look how much
up on Kevin Knowles.
Yeah, on 170-pound Kevin Knowles. Yeah,
some of these are just good game plan by Oklahoma. They kind of know your personnel, and they attack it well.
Yeah, they're attacking weaknesses. You're not an overly talented defense. You probably have 3 to 5 NFL players in total playing at any given time. And I'm talking about like a freshman like AZ might be one down the road. Should be one.
I know people are like probably frustrated about me talking about this, but you know what elite defenses do? They keep those two safeties back and still stop the run.
And still are able to. Yeah, because you're dictating terms of the line of scrimmage. And we've seen
as soon as you can't do that, you can't be an elite defense. I don't care who you are. Like, I don't care what you do as a defensive coordinator. If your players aren't beating the other team one-on-one matchups, then you're just not going to be elite. You have to have something there.
Do you want me to find when DJ Lundy with Fabian Lovett splits real quick when he plays and when he doesn't? I think that might be informative.
Yeah, go look for it.
Do you want to do rushing, or do you want me to do just total yards per play allowed? Rushing yards or total offense allowed?
Total offense, because I think they have to change their whole defense when he's not in.
All right.
Yeah, they really tried to get Williamson involved.
With some success, right? Like a little bit here and there. He's going to be so good if he stays healthy, man.
Yeah, the dude's an athlete.
Yeah.
So this is the same down play that AB was talking about earlier. You get your guard pulling, you get an extra man at the point of attack. Really opens up that hole. Great vision. He sets up that broken tackle, so he hits it hard inside and bounces it. That gets the safety to come up. So this is what makes Trayshawn Ward just really, really good college football player.
If he ends up leaving, which is possible, that's going to hurt. Like, you're going to miss Trayshawn Ward.
Yeah, so I'm kind of glad this happened, because earlier in the season, we saw there were times when Trey Benson kind of was struggling. Here they go. Yeah, this is definitely not a read. They saw how easy it was to get the outside when 35 was in the game, and they just went straight to a jet sweep.
They kept it
right at him.
Yeah.
And he can't set that edge. All of the help is in the inside. He needs to be able to set that edge.
So
That's
with
a limitation of him.
they have personnel limitations, especially in the defensive line with the depth. Like that's just it is. So yeah, with Fabian Lovett this year, Kev, FSU allowed 3.5 yards per play. Without him, 5.3, a 2-yard per play difference. That's
What were the two numbers?
3.5.
Oh, 3.5.
3.5 with 5.3 without.
Yeah, I mean, and you have to take into account some of the games where he was in were
Right.
against easier opponents, but I mean, you have a borderline elite defense with just Fabian Lovett,
Yeah.
and you're adding a lot of pieces on that defensive line next season.
He was in against. I mean, he played against both your SEC opponents. You know, like yes, he was in there for a nice stretch, but he played against LSU and he played against Florida.
That's true.
This was huge.
Very true.
So how did they set this up? Like they hadn't gone to this. What led to this?
What's interesting is Oklahoma's really not respecting this bunch setup here. They've got 3 over 3, only one high safety, and his eyes are firmly in the box.
Yeah, they don't have numbers. That's what I'm struggling to understand how this happened.
I think you're just taking advantage of just how aggressive Oklahoma's been all game.
Just their tendency that Brent Venables likes his guys to get upfield.
Right, and they've been attacking the run game, attacking the pass. This is the other side of the coin, right? So people are going to say, why didn't we blitz? We kept too high. Why don't we speed up the quarterback when our corners are struggling?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can. You certainly can. The problem is that good offensive coordinator is going to do that.
It's a trade-off.
Right.
Anyways, always that AB guy is a real jerk. Oh, hey, AB.
I'm back. Sorry.
We didn't get much further. We did discuss that the team is borderline elite with Fabian Lovett in the game and borderline not elite when he's
What do you think the yard per play difference is with and without Fabian Lovett?
Probably cut in half.
Almost. It's a 5.3 without 3.5 with Fabian Lovett. So 2-yard per play difference.
Much ado was made about this play. I'm so glad I'm here in time for this play. This is like your standard hide the tight end play. Like it's so, I love it. I love the creativity. I just have
I mean, there's not a big weight difference between Darius Washington. Darius Washington having not a full off season versus Biscuit.
I don't know. This play struck me as like, all right, that's a cool trick play. But so much has been like, God, their offensive staff is so creative. I'm just like, yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of people run that play. I mean,
it's some level of
forever.
Yeah, some level of anticipation to like understand there's a tendency that Oklahoma might be aggressive here. Maybe is like that what's happening because they do blitz, and so you get a free. I mean, yeah, it's his own blitz, and he just has space.
Yeah, but
the movement by Jordan Travis is what, and it's coached for this is the key to the play.
Oh yeah, a little throw. Yes.
I mean, he creates a throwing angle because they're realizing that safety is going to see Biscuit, so you've got to move to get him open.
This looks like the fight song play in NCAA.
Not hit the official who's standing there, the back judge or whatever the hell they call him.
Oh, thing of beauty. So, oh no, we missed what? Oh,
that's all you get.
Best play by Duke Cooper this year.
Yeah, good on Duke.
He played a lot better in the second half of this game, though. I was saying that to somebody, I don't remember who, but like he looked like his old self to an extent.
I think he had some injuries early in the year, then we saw a loss of confidence. Jamie Robinson doesn't make the play, but man, look at the athleticism to get there. Like he hits another gear.
Needs Shyheim to make this play. I think he will as he continues to get. Continues to grow.
Yeah, he was just a little aggressive coming uphill.
I'm interested with Shyheim Brown, like how much do you want to bank on him becoming a legit starter or just even a legit starter next year? Like,
right.
You're developing him with the idea of that's what he's going to become.
Mm-hmm.
But do you like get a starter in the portal to supplement that for another year? Do you like it? It's interesting roster management for them to figure out.
Can you go get 2 safety starters in the portal? I mean, are there 2 guys that come in and make you better? I mean, I don't know what Greg Dent's status is, but
Akeem Dent, wrong Dent. Wrong Dent from South Florida.
Akeem Dent, I'm sorry. Sorry,
okay.
Dent.
I think there is a relation.
Talking about Fabian Lovett's huge impact just a minute ago. This is why. This is where Fabian Levitt would be playing in this situation. You see everybody else collapses his pocket, but one guy has been left behind, and now there's an outlet.
Mm-hmm. And like I get the feeling that like Malcolm Ray is supposed to be doing some level of like he doesn't not supposed to be getting the level of penetration that other people are, but like you can't lose your lane to that extent.
All right, let's.
Is
What's
that on
happening here?
Shaheem?
Yeah, I think Shaheem is really slow to recognize the
He
screen.
needs to take an outside angle too, probably. Yeah, so he just has to cheat.
Yeah, I think that's slow recognition on Brown's part.
And you're forced to play him. I mean, you don't want to be playing him this much. He's a redshirt
freshman
guy.
Yeah.
Who's
A
that?
rookie.
Who gets picked up here on the backside? Is that Jamie?
Jamie.
Yeah.
I think
So
Jamie blitzes in the wrong gap.
They're anticipating this blitz, and this is a good call by Jeff Levy. I mean, sometimes you have to tip your cap and say, all right, yeah, you're being predictable. Sometimes the offense can get it right too. Like they cannot predict and just get it right.
I say good riddance to Jamie Robinson, who needs him. I mean, awful effort. Sarcasm for people who are not picking it up.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they've got zone blocking going this way that picks up the extra blocker.
I mean, I think they're anticipating something entirely different here, and they get this look and they kind of get lucky. Like Jamie jumps inside, and I don't know if it's DJ Lundy. He also jumps inside. I think they end up getting two guys kind of in. No, they don't get them in the same gap.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about this. It feels like they shouldn't be outgapped as bad as they are.
I mean, it is the same gap that Lundy and Robinson attack. They just get picked up at different places, isn't it?
I will say that the
better
game
than I would.
They probably have a shot if Jamie doesn't jump inside and get just kind of blocked so
he can't
easily.
do that.
Yeah,
he gives up gap integrity there.
Because if he stays here on the outside shoulder, you have a chance that this gets turned back in.
And what I'm guessing that Oklahoma is anticipating is a blitz from him off the edge, because that's something they've shown quite a bit. And this time they're going to bring him a B gap. And
I was trying to mute myself while sneezing. I don't know if I made it.
Not successful on the first one, successful on the second. It was adorable.
It was a struggle.
You got to tip your cap to Oklahoma on that one. I mean, this happens in football.
That's what there's been like 4 or 5 plays from the time you left AB where it's like, okay, Oklahoma just got you, and that's allowed to happen. You're gonna lose some.
Hey, got you back.
Oh my god!
Like if we're
what a catch.
If we're watching Oklahoma here, we say the same exact thing. Like, what do you do? He's 6'7".
6'7". They got him 1-on-1 outside. I mean, oh, I love that at the end too. Get off me. Johnny Wilson redemption was a game of a lot of guys who had their moments that weren't great early and capitalized later.
Kind of story of his season, though, right? I mean, so many games like that for him where the Florida game struggled at stretches, but then makes a big catch late in the fourth quarter.
So is Benson like the pressure comes so fast through looks like the A gap, B gap there, but like it looks like he tries to bounce it out too much, but it's tough to tell with the linebacker shooting as fast as he does. Like, can he cut up and get a few yards? I don't know.
I think Mike's just trying to get this ball centered for the field goal.
For the field goal, yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
What's interesting is this is almost the exact play that Oklahoma just scored on, like a backside outside zone off of kind of a motion across. It's not exactly the play, but it's very similar.
Similar concept.
You see that Oklahoma stops it because this guy doesn't keep following him across the screen. So, I mean, they were able to sell out here, but if he pulled it, there's no way this one defensive end gets these two people. So it's like, this is the give and take of football.
And the personnel usage too is like, is Preston Daniel drawing that level of attention to where you follow him no matter what, or you build your game plan around bracketing him, something like that. And that's just not happening.
People were critical of him playing for the field goal here. I mean, I thought it was the right play all the way.
I did too. They got, I mean, not that it was the most important thing in that moment with after the Jazz and Trinitine injury, but that was a 30-second difference that caused.
You got them to use their last time out.
Yeah.
55 seconds for them to drive the length.
People were critical of them. People are just critical of everything.
The pass defense had been better, though. Like, I felt like in this game, the second half on, like they were running the football and they weren't throwing it on you necessarily.
Yeah, you force them to drive it, go downfield and drive it and beat you without a timeout.
Here's zone defense again. I guess they get a completion. So
they do run zone?
Oh, yeah, you missed that too. We figured out they ran a zone play successfully. It does happen.
Sugar. Yeah, AC Thomas had the
that was on the play.
I mean, they run zone all the time because they run man match stuff, which is based in some zone principles. I mean, I know it's man, but
and Jared Verse, who had an awful game.
It's zone also.
It's PFF categorizes it by zone.
Yeah, zone. I don't know. I'm as critical of anybody as about Marcus Woodson in the defensive back group, but I think there's a lot of hyperbolic statements that get made.
Yeah. Yeah, like there are you guys have outlined well, like things that they do not do well, and that can get cleaned up. But it's just it's not.
They don't play with discipline. That's the biggest problem. They don't play with discipline. I think their technique is fine, and like Kevin and I talked to a couple of D-back coaches that shout out Caleb. Caleb. That have said to us that, and I trust their opinions, that they play good technique. They just aren't disciplined at all. They just kind of get out there and, I don't know, crap the bed, so to speak. And like I feel like the discipline on this defense has got to improve. And if that happens, I think that we're going to see some even better results because we've continued to see them improve year over year, right? I mean, statistically.
Yeah. But that is when we talk about the defense, big picture, and whether it's championship caliber, like how do you know whether the staff can get you there? They've done nothing to show you that they have capped out yet. They may have. We made this 2023 might be, this is your ceiling. You could figure that out, but it's gotten better year over year. And as the talent's gotten better, your product is getting better. And this year's defense, especially if Jared Verse comes back, which seems possible, like you should be better again in 2023. Yeah. So I'm totally fine with like another year of Adam Fuller. I don't understand the level of consternation there.
And here's my thing about Fuller. The recruiting criticisms are fair, but what's the best coached position group on this defense? Defensive end probably, and then safety.
Yeah, I mean, Jamie Robinson is Adam Fuller's guy.
Hakeem Dent. I mean, we were thinking he was a bust before this coaching staff showed up. Shaheem Brown was a 3-star.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have an issue. And then even if you want to take in the recruiting part of it, it's like, I don't think Adam Fuller's a great recruiter for the state of Florida, especially South Florida. He just was the primary on 2 top 15 ranked transfer prospects, Braden Fisk, Deuce Cypress. Those are blue chip guys who will start for you this season and both probably play in the NFL. And he led the charge for them.
He's not without fault, but I think the feeling that he is the sole thing holding this team back is kind of unfair.
I agree. And none of these coaches are without fault. Like Alex Atkins might be the closest thing you have to an A+. But like the freshmen he's brought in have not become major contributors yet for you. Like he's done a great job supplementing in other ways, and that's fine. Like you're trying to win games, you're trying to do it within the construct of the culture that Mike Norvell's created. It's not going to be perfect across the board because of the uphill battle you faced. You've gotten over the hump though to where you can start selling things. But
if I can't brag about a 5-star high school recruit, then what's this all been about?
Well, I mean, there's some reality to them needing to be better recruiters. Like if we're gonna speak hyperbolic, then I think it's fair to say that. I mean, they do need to be better recruiters, right? I mean, it's 100%. Fair to give Adam Fuller a lot of credit for going out and helping land Deuce Cypress, but let's not also forget that the battle's end, which, I mean, no, the collectives themselves, we know how effective they are for portal recruiting. Like we know how important it is for the transfer portal. We know that's not legal with high school guys and, yada, 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 and all that. But we know that these things are significant in the portal, and portal recruiting is a little bit different. I think you need to give him credit for that, but also at the same time say, look, he's got to be a better high school recruiter too. Like,
yeah,
he can't be a liability there, and it's fair to say that he needs to come under fire. This is going to be elite defense. They've got to get elite talent in here, and he's not able to do that right now at the high school ranks. So, I mean, I do think that that's fair criticism, but I think when you lump that into, well, he can't coach defense, or he's too bland, or he's too vanilla, or he can't, I think that those waters get muddied too much. Like,
I agree.
Let's talk about him as a defensive coordinator and what we feel like he does, and then strip that out and say, okay, well, this is how we also feel about him as a recruiter. He's probably an F as a recruiter when it comes to the high school ranks, or a D-, whatever.
He's not an asset in some areas of the state. Like, he's not going into South Florida and recruiting for you. Like, Conrad Hussey was not right. If you have other, that's where there's so many layers to this. If Marcus Woodson is recruiting at the level that you, I think, hoped he would, and the guy who he was when Travis Hunter was in the boat, then like that offsets it, right?
Right.
But that's not what ended up happening. And so you had two not high-end recruiters in the defensive back in that same position group.
Right.
And then Randy Shannon, I think, is a good coach. I think he's a good relationship guy. I know people in South Florida speak very highly of him being someone that, fathers want their kids to go play for, at least consider. He's not a great closer at this point in his career. So he's not a great recruiter either. So you're talking about your back end of your defense not being great recruiters. You need someone there to, good job, Kev, you got it this time. You need someone there to carry that burden a little bit better. Or you need to just be amazing, elite X's and O's and seam guys without any deficiencies at all. And that's, I think Randy Shannon's a good developer of linebackers. We saw that this year. I think Adam Fuller is a good developer of talent at safety. I think he's a good defensive coordinator and a good schemer. He's very smart. He understands percentages and what's going to happen, what defenses or what offenses are trying to do. Is he elite? I don't know if it's enough to make up for it, but that's where you need to fill in that gap of, and when I say it, I mean high school recruiting. That's where you need that cornerback coach. Whoever this hire is going to be really important. You either need to be a great technician that's on page with Adam Fuller, or someone who consistently brings in top 100 prospects at the cornerback spot. Bless you again, Kevin. What's happening?
That was a cough. But who he reminds me a little bit of Clark Lee.
Well, UABs, is that who Clark Lee is?
I think he's at Vanderbilt now.
I was thinking Billy Clark.
Clark Lee was the defensive coordinator at Notre Dame, I believe, before he was at Vanderbilt. He was the defensive coordinator before their current head coach was the defensive coordinator. And they played a lot of man. They played a lot of man free. They played a lot of 2-man. When you have the talent that a Notre Dame has or an Ohio State has, those can turn out elite defenses by doing that. It's not a criticism to play man coverage. It's the staple of many great offenses. Defenses.
I don't know. It's a very gray topic that people want to make black and white. He's not good. He is good. He can't do this. He can't do that. Like, I'm glad we've got all off season to kind of look at it. And you can't argue that year over year they've gotten better. Can they make the big jump? Can anybody make the big jump? Is there an elite defense in college football anymore?
Well, we don't know if there's an elite defense, but I mean, the numbers would say like there is room to get better. If you're, say, top 20, different number, top 15, top 30, whatever, like if you're in that range, can you go from an above average Power 5 defense, a good Power 5 defense, to a great one, regardless of what great and elite means? Like, yeah, that dominant like Alabama defense from 7-8 years ago isn't happening very frequently. Georgia last year was pretty damn good though. But it's an exception to the rule. But can you get to the point where you're not having meltdowns for like large periods of the time? Can you go and close games when you have to? Like, I think that's what people had an issue with against Oklahoma was the offense finally got its head out of its butt and was rolling like how you wanted it to, and the defense kind of lost some steam then instead of playing complementary. And that is the next step. And we get 2023 season with Adam Fuller's pieces in play now with the transfer portal helping that, and you get an idea. Okay, there's not going to be many excuses now. It will be an informative, instructive year for many fronts as FSU is ahead of schedule now, and whether you make that next jump. And they are all in. They are recruiting for guys to win them a conference championship in 2023 and to contend for something more than that.
Yeah,
it's cool to happen, but it changes things for sure. I get it.
Well, I think that's well said, and I think we went far past the purview of this Oklahoma preview. So we'll actually be hopping on a roundtable. On Tuesday night.
The roundest of tables.
Whatever that means for you guys. That's going to be over on the Knowles 247 channel. So go over there and subscribe. Make sure you like and subscribe this video. Subscribe to X's and Knowles. Check out all this great stuff over at Knowles 247. That's where all the news breaks. They're the first one on it.
Scoop.
They're really the best.
Say scoop, Kev. Say scoop.
Scoop.
I love it. All right, guys. Should we get out of here? I appreciate the kind words, Kev. I love what you guys have done and brought to Knowles 24/7. Enough ball washing. Let's wrap this up. I'm Trey Rowland. What's he say? Chop it. Keep on chopping. Yes. Nailed it.
That's it.